friends, it's Shop My Stash time. This is where I go through my collection and I find some things that maybe haven't been used in a while that I'd really like to get use out of. And it's a great way, like if you're kind of feeling like, oh, I want to get some new makeup, I want to get this or that. You really focus on things that you have and you realize like, wow, I can be totally content and just feel better about the fact that I'm getting use out of what I already own. So I've already gone through my collection and I pulled out some things. This is going to be really random, but I'm very excited. So first thing I pulled out is this little primer from Essence. I hadn't used this in a bit, the Hello Good Stuff Glow Serum Primer, 93% natural ingredients. Whoa! Some just shot across the room. There we go, there's a pump. Oh, it smells good. It smells like melon, very hydrating, thin, but yet I really feel like an added layer of hydration has been added on my skin. Yeah, there's that. Refreshing. Yesterday it rained on and off like all day, and I gotta say it was so nice. Why do I like that weather so much? I don't even mind that it's getting darker earlier, honestly, because it just lets the coziness of the inside come through more, you know what I mean? I pulled out my Revlon Illuminance foundation. This is their skin caring foundation, has the 5% squalane hyaluronic acid. I recently used the skin tint, and I know this to be one of my favorite parts of this little Illuminance range, and I just felt like using it today. So I used a pump and just a little bit more. This is not the fullest coverage foundation, but it looks really skin-like on, and I feel like I could just benefit from a little bit extra than the usual pump. And then for a brush, I think I'll pull out this one. I've used this a bunch from my little TikTok shop set that I got. By the way, I love hearing from you guys who tried that set and realized it was so good. I was just reading a comment yesterday from somebody saying they loved how the eye brushes weren't too oversized. Look at the radiance, even coverage. It is going to be like a medium coverage on this one, but just such a healthy look on the skin. We've already applied that primer that gave us a little more moisture, so we're just going to be radiant today. This angled cut is so good, just love the shape and size. I'm going around and I'm pressing it in. I had such a nice evening last night. After I go to bed, we had played with Little People for like probably 2 hours. He can go forever with that stuff. We have the little like Thanksgiving set, so he loves that, and then he found all his Christmas themed stuff that came out of an advent calendar, so we used all that and then put him to bed. And then the girls and I turned on our nightly Gilmore Girls. I got out my puzzle table. I made some progress on my latest jigsaw puzzle. Hi, Rosie. This is the life I lead, and I love it. Okay, I gotta let Rosie into the girls' room. Anyway, see what I mean about that foundation? It's giving me kind of a NARS Sheer Glow vibe. Is anybody else picking up on that? Just the gentle radiance that kind of pops off, but it's not too shiny. It's just like if you wanted to convince somebody that you just had really good skin, they might believe that this is just skin. But it is covering. Okay, I pulled out 2 concealer products. My NYX Pro Fix Stick. This is in the pink shade. It's really handy for correcting under eye darkness. I like the texture of it. It's not going to be quite as like hydrating creamy as the e.l.f. in the little pot, the putty color correcting thing. I think I'll use this little Sephora 71 brush. Nice little shape and size. Anyway, it's not quite as hydrating as that, but yet it's not drying on me either. I can get away with using this, layering up something else. I think the key is just always in the concealer arena, don't use too much. But yeah, definitely adds a little brightness. Is anybody else enjoying Dancing with the Stars this season? I was just watching a TikTok as I was doing my skincare here. I just have my phone down here. And I was watching Lindsay Arnold. Remember, she was a past pro, and her little sister Riley is Steven's partner this year, and it was fun to see like behind the scenes what it was like being at that last show. But like, I can't get over these pros and how they're choreographing so much stuff so well. Like it's on them to do it, to make it up, to figure it out. I just love watching it. I feel like there have been so many really good couples. I've got a lot that I like, but my top favorites, really loving Whitney and Danny. Riley and Steven are right up there for me. And then I've started really getting into Brandon and Chandler. They are so good too. Who could pick sometimes? Everybody's doing such a good job. And then I pulled out this Butter Silk concealer from the One Size brand. It's called Turn Up the Base Butter Silk Concealer. I have it in Fair 3. And I love this concealer, but there's so many new concealers that kind of come through that it just hasn't gotten much use lately, but it's really good. We're talking full coverage, but not thick. It really has a lightweight texture. I don't feel like a lot of people talk about this product from One Size. I feel like the most hyped product from this brand is definitely their setting spray, but this is amazing. And I pulled out another One Size thing too to use in a minute. I know what brush I want to use. Also from my TikTok set. Love this for concealer. I've continued to use this so much. Smaller angled side and then a larger angled side. I'm gonna get in there and make it take up some space. You can see the shade is like perfectly brightening for me, but it's just really thin. Loving the way it's blending. I mean, it's just so lightweight. I'm not even really trying to fully blend with this one side, but it is blending, you know what I mean? When I say it's thinner than other concealers, that's a real thing. And I'm just gonna flip to the larger side just to ensure that everything is really nicely blended in there. You know what I want to do meal prep wise? I want to prep breakfast burritos because Bub is always looking for something to grab like before or after his morning workouts, and a lot of times for breakfast, I mean, I'd gotten on a real kick with Greek yogurt for a long time, and now I just feel like I don't want something sweet in the morning, and I feel like I could easily prep some breakfast burritos and like freeze them. I want to say Pup did this for us once, maybe after babies or something. There's that all blended in. I mean, so good. And of course I just wiped my nose and I'm gonna add a tidbit more there now. I really started feeling a lot better from the whole sinusy stuff yesterday. We've been buying those packs of like frozen breakfast burritos, and it's just one of those things where you feel like, gosh, I could probably pretty easily do this on my own, and probably with the low carb wraps, you know. I'm gonna go about this in terms of the sequence of my face. I'm using Shelby's like layering technique, so I'm not gonna set that under eye yet. I'm gonna do my cream steps and then put powder on top. So my next cream step would be a cream bronzer. I pulled this out from Physicians Formula. It's the Mineral Wear Diamond Bronzer in Deep Bronze Gem. And it's actually a pretty good cream bronzer. Blends pretty well. I like working with it. I definitely prefer this deep shade over the other one. I just think it has more impact. It's still not like super dark. And this is just a Sephora 56 job. Just putting that where it usually goes, maybe a little down here. And then we just buff it in. That concealer combo is just crushing it this morning. I love the way those look. This is just a matter of pressing it in, okay? We're not doing big old swirls. We're just trying to not interfere too much with the foundation that's already on there. And then for a cream or liquid blush, I pulled out this little angel of a product here. This is the Color Drops Serum Blush from M Cosmetics. The shade is Soft Amethyst. And this is like a pure liquid. Really, really thin. Cutest little packaging ever. And I'm gonna pop some of this on my cheeks and blend out with my Sephora 56 brush. I've not used one of these in a while, but they were really out before the whole cream and liquid blush craze really got going with all the other brands. See how soft it is? It looked like it was maybe gonna be dark, but it just shears out so much. I know I'm layering up another blush ultimately, but I just wanna see what this looks like if I add a little more. Just a couple more dots maybe out here. Like the click up things that are like the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lips. You know, M Cosmetics, didn't they do those first with their lip cushions? That's really pretty. You can just get away with a little more of this product. Nothing looks like makeup right now on the surface of my skin. Everything just looks really radiant, really light, but I do know I'm gonna need to set a little bit because I am also pretty dewy feeling. But now's the point. I would do some under eye setting powder. I had pulled out my powder from Huda. This is in the shade Cupcake. Some people just absolutely swear by the Huda Loose powder. Are they still making it with the mesh insert there? Because I don't love that, and that's maybe the one reason why I don't reach for this more. I just find that a bit annoying, but I've shaken out a ton, so it's not much of a factor right now. but I'm going to pat this over my under eye area. This powder has a lot of fragrance too. I guess I like the fragrance, but it just feels kind of funny coming from a powder. Press it around the old nose. What would Shelby do? She'd go down in here too. And I'm going to dust it away. I've kind of customized that routine to what really works for me, and it amounts to ultimately a little less powder than what was done in her video. But as you can see, that's not over all the face. That's on T-zone, under eye, down in here, and then I'm going to sweep away excess, and I'm just going to do that immediately. That powder does make my skin look really good, really smooth, even. Okay, now here's where you would pull in powder, bronzer, and blush. And I thought, let's do it in a palette. Let's use Cali Contour. Are they still making this? I just kind of assumed they were. Smashbox Cali Contour, I'm gonna look it up. It's still at Ulta. I love this product. It looks pretty basic at a glance, but it really is one of the better all-in-one palettes. Like, you have this matte powder, contour, bronzer, those are highlighters in the middle, and you have a blush. So I'm gonna work with that stuff today. I'm gonna go into the more bronzy side, and I'm just gonna set where the other bronzer was. Is this effective for staying power? Yeah, I really feel like it is. On days when I want to take a little extra time, I think it makes a big difference doing the layering. We have a little cooler shade here. I feel like people who wanted a really light, cool contour would love this, because it's very naturally shadowy looking. Okay, looking great. And now we can do our blush, which is a really like dusty pink blush. It's gonna show more than you think. We're topping off our M Cosmetics, looking really smooth. It's adding a little coverage almost, but see that rosiness that it just put in? I'm loving this look so far, guys. In the past couple weeks, I've been using, especially like days when I'm not shooting a video, maybe on the weekends, like on a random Wednesday throughout the week, like I've been pulling out palettes that I've wanted to rediscover, or just something I haven't used in a while, and I've been keeping track of those looks. And I think I'm probably gonna post on like Lemonade or Instagram little palette like re-reviews of some of those things. I feel like it'd be fun. I'm gonna do highlighter here. This is my lighter one. This one's just more like a kind of goldeny highlight. It would still glow on the skin, but I really like this one. Look at that. I remember why I was once all about this palette. It kind of makes you wonder, like, which was first, this or the Hourglass palettes? Because it's really like Smashbox's take on that type of thing, but I almost feel like this was out before those. It becomes a little blurry sometimes with all the products. But there we go. Nice little soft glow. Skin's looking awesome. For some setting spray, I pulled out my Milani Make It Last. This is just the original one. I like the smell of that one too. You know how I mentioned how some of these setting sprays just have the best scents? Like the new M Cosmetics, you got MAC Fix Plus, that one smells good. This one smells good. I forgot though I was gonna do a little extra thing with my under eye, and now I've just set my face, oh well. Remember when I bought the Stage White powder? I remember thinking this would be a great like little added brightening step. This needs to be used with a really small brush, like a Real Techniques setting brush or something similar. This is from Profusion. I'm just gonna get a little bit on and just lightly see if this is doing anything. I know it does do something, but you want like the bare minimum. You do not want to overdo. That's why I'm going little by little and just seeing. Yeah, it's definitely brightening. It's something you just have to use really lightly and strategically. Like, I would never go in and put my sponge in and bake with a lot of this because it's just so light. It really could risk looking too dry. For eyeshadow primer, I did shop my stash for something. I'm going to use this Wet n Wild Mega Last eyeshadow primer. It seems kind of like, I don't know, smoother than Milani, but as I recall, it works pretty similarly. And what's up with me not doing brows? We're going to do brows. I think I'm getting on too much of this. And apparently we're just doing a pinky application. Yeah, I totally forgot to grab anything out for brows. That's why I didn't even think to do them. Okay, here, this is gonna be a real test of a product. The Brow Micro Filling Pen. Remember this from Benefit? I loved this. It's like an actual pen, and it has 3 little prongs on it. See how the tip is angled, and it's got 1, 2, 3. It absolutely did the perfect flow of product out to the brows, and I loved this, but I haven't used it in a long time, and I'm wondering if it's still got any juice in it. And it does. Oh my gosh. What shade is this? Medium brown? Yeah, I kind of can't believe she's still kicking. This is an old product. And really the main reason why I've kept it around was just kind of for comparison's sake. If another brand puts out something similar, I can kind of gauge it against the way this one was, just to keep that reminder in my head, you know? As people who make content, I'm playing by a little different set of rules about what's reasonable, you know, or what I would advise everybody else to do. Like, I was going through foundations and clearing a bunch out and still finding that I have a bunch. And does everybody need to have a bunch of foundations? No. But am I kind of in the business of testing, reviewing, and comparing? Yeah, so what's reasonable for me is kind of different. But yeah, I still go through every so often and I take out those things that just don't seem really relevant anymore or are just plain old. Sometimes you can just look at a foundation and tell, yeah. But who am I to talk about the age of a product when this pen I know is old, but I just really wanted to see if it still had juice, and it does. It's done a really fine job filling in here. It's precise. It's been the very best brow pen I've ever used about not laying down too much juice at once. But I think we got it there. You can make it a full Benefit brow with the Gimme Brow as well, shade 5. You can see tiny little brush. Haven't used this in a while. This product definitely inspired so many little brow mascara tinted brow products. So I know a lot of people like to decorate for Christmas this early, and with the exception of this room, I just haven't gotten this done yet, but my house is pretty well decorated. But do you also like to start listening to Christmas music already? Because like I have programmed in those stations on my like Holly and the Sirius XM holiday stations, added them to my favorites in the car, and I almost feel like I'm not ready for the Christmas music yet. I'm just not quite there with it. All right guys, here's the palette I pulled out to rediscover today. Whoa, Maple Syrup Pancakes from Too Faced. Now I know my nose has not been detecting scent as well as it should, but there is a subtle maple scent with this one. I just popped this open and I thought there's really some fun variety, and as I was looking it up, it is still available. So I thought let's have some fun with this today and see what kind of look we can get into. I'm going to take Flapjack right up here. It's kind of a mauvey mid-tone. So with their Apple in Love palette, Too Faced went back to the kind of like metal palette design, kind of like the original chocolate bar palettes had, but somewhere in there in the creation of palettes, they were getting into more of a cardboard packaging. So this was from the cardboard era. But I'll link to this and everything below wherever I find the products. I always provide a link, and it's an affiliate link. So if you click it and you do buy the product as a result of clicking the link, I get a little commission. Like it could be a few cents. On a lot of drugstore things that I link to, I think it's just maybe a few cents, but it can add up, and that money supports this channel. So thank you so much to those who use the links and click them. I mean, I would be linking to the products anyway, just so you could have more information. Actually, before affiliate linking was a thing, I would link to products. And I think it's nice that creators can see a benefit from that. It's not like I'm doing a sponsored video, but just being able to do those links has been helpful for my channel because I don't do the sponsorships. So that's that shade all softly blended in. I'm gonna do Hazelnuts right here, another matte. There's just really some surprising little tone variations in this one. They call it Maple Syrup Pancakes, and you open it up, it's like, what? But I like palettes that make me go in some different directions sometimes. So long as they're well balanced, you know? This is giving me dark, this is giving me mid-tone as well. I love the way that's blending. Super duper easy. I might take a little bit of this shade called Powdered Sugar up here. It's got some shimmer, but might just let that go up high for a little brightening right in there. This is gonna make me hungry for pancakes. That's the thing. Too Faced palettes tend to make me hungry. I wanna go just a little darker before I pull in some other things. Let's take Short Stack right down in here, this shade. A little bit of Short Stack, outermost corner. See that? It's going right out here. I've been sticking with the same Profusion crease brush this whole time. Sticking it right where I want the most product to go, which is the depth of the crease. I'd like to see a little of the olive working into this look, I think. There's a really pretty navy up there as well. It's just hard to choose. It's hard to do a random look and just be like, okay, now pick. I'm gonna take Cup of Joe on the outside. So that's this kind of shimmery, deep shade. I'm going to start there for darkness. And this is going to actually show some shimmer. It's not just like a matte with embedded sparkle. It really does have some glitz that's going to translate, but it's still a very dark shade. We're not even trying to really go half of the lid. We're just thinking outer third, okay? Morphe flat brush, just patting it down. It's maybe got a tinge of blue to it if you're really looking closely, but all in all, dark. If you really want the blue, you'd go up there to Blueberry Jam. Okay, that's that outer third, rockin' and rollin'. Taking my small pointed brush, not adding anything to it right now, just kind of making sure that shade actually is in my crease. Maybe I will add a little more. Back to Cup of Joe. I'm liking the way that's sort of merging with the warmer crease colors we first put in. And then back to the crease brush just to make sure we have a smooth blend with all of it. Nothing added, just going over. Now, into the greens. We've got Morning Matcha here, which is a matte. We've got Side of Fruit, which has shimmer. Kiss My Griddle, actually, for some reason, maybe it's just its placement in the palette, it makes you think that's going to be a murky olive. Really coming off just bronzy, so I'm not going to get a lot of green from that. I think I'll take some Morning Matcha and then maybe do a little layering with the other. We'll just see how that goes. So right here, it is kind of a unique tone of green. Like, I don't know if I have another green in my collection that's just like that. It's like a very pronounced olive, not getting as murky as a lot of olives would. And it's definitely mid-tone, you know? It's not super light, but I'm hitting all the rest of the lid with it. It's kind of an army green, but they managed to keep some life in it. Okay, there's where we're at now, and I'd still like to see some of this Side of Fruit shade get involved. What about just a spotlight of it? Like, just a little bit on the center of the lid, just for shine. I wouldn't have to use my finger for this, but I am. Now she's going over a color that's a little darker. I think it's still going to have a little pop, a little sheen. It doesn't full on halo eye. This is just dabbing, directing. That eye caught it a little better. More. I like that. What I want is more warmth, more haze kind of coming in there. But now that my green is on, I need to do that in a really controlled way. I think I'm going to take my little wispy white brush. This is a small brush from Sigma. Any smaller crease brush, you could use a regular size crease brush too, but I'm going to go back to hazelnuts. This brush does help me keep some control, and you can see I can easily get right in here and let that transition-y warmth just radiate. See what I mean? The look just seems a little more framed at this point. But look at all the choices you could make with this palette, and I'm sorry that metallic is making it hard to see, but the navy blue, burgundy, it could be straight up like bronzy neutral, like plenty of strong depth sprinkled throughout, but like fun little pops too. Now for my lower lash line, I'm pulling out Jungle from Makeup Forever. It's their Aqua Resist shadow sticks. This is just a really good olivey green. And I'm gonna put that on my lower lash line outer part. This is going on the skin of my lower lash line. And then I'm also going to line my inner rim with that. Yeah. Switching it up, taking it darker. Not as dark as black, but like it's really going to hang in there and give us a little richer look. And then I'm going to smoke over that with that matcha green eyeshadow. I'm going to also go up here with it. Get a little hard to distinguish depth right at the lash line. Shadow sticks as liner. Literally making your look seem more professionally done, but easier and less painstaking than all the other liner methods. Okay, back to this, that color right there. And I'm not sure how much this is gonna stand out, but I just wanna sweep over that darker green. It just looks kind of smoky. Here in person, I can actually see the green. I just think it's a nice tie-in back into the rest of the look. Smoky. Now I am going to go directly under that. I could use even this little brightening powder from the Cali Contour. Just go right under, and I swear a light bit of powder directly under powder that's applied to the lower lash line keeps it in place. Also, after I went in with the white powder, it's kind of making my blush feel lower. So I need to bring the blush up. While I got this open, I'll just do that. Okay, it's mascara time. I feel like I've been rotating my mascaras pretty well lately, but I'll pull out my Rimmel Kind and Free for today. So this has a traditional bristle brush, but it also has sort of a flat side that lets the product build up pretty well on your lashes. I'm really liking this look today. That color of green and the way it's showing up is just so unique. Look at that. I just love the way that builds, that mascara. Need to do a Rimmel top 10, huh? Thank you, by the way, so much for the requests that have been coming in for more top 10 videos. I'll probably do another one next week. A lot involving Milani, and it cracked me up because someone was like, I'd like to see Milani, and then they put in parentheses, but don't include the eyeshadow primer. I'd almost have to, though. I mean, like, that's one of the most #1 things in my whole routine. But no, I love that you guys know me that well. If you're getting bored with your eye looks, I tell you, just get some liner in your lower inner rim. You'll just have a change for the day. Loving it. A little lower mascara I think is needed too, so we'll pop on Cali Ray. You know what this look reminds me of? Another Too Faced palette. It was the Natural at Night palette. Does anybody remember that? It was like a brownish cardboard 9-pan palette that had some olive green. And I felt like I did a lot of very smoky, very like liner intense probably looks with that. I loved that palette. All right, so I had to go and completely change up the lip that I picked because when I was shopping my stash yesterday, I had no idea what kind of eye look I was gonna do, and I feel like it needs to be a nude lip today. And I had like a totally pinky one picked out. So yeah, let's get this going. I've picked out some new things. This is a drugstore lip combo. I'm going with Revlon Color Stay Lip Liner in Nude. This hasn't necessarily been underused, but I just feel like it's the shade I need. And I'm gonna fill in my whole lips with this. And by the way, this is called nude, but you'll notice it's a deeper nude. It's just a great product, like long wearing, creamy enough going on, but then you can actually rely on the staying power. Then I pulled out Fairest Nude lipstick from L'Oreal. And I'm gonna go over top with this. Really gonna lighten it up. I remember when this particular shade was being very buzzed about. I like that combo. The nude liner from Revlon makes this feel more wearable. This is always like a part of a look for me, not necessarily the whole look. Fairest Nude lipstick. And then I pulled out a gloss. This is Bare Minimum from Rimmel's Stay Glossy line. And I'm just gonna coat the lips with that. Thoughts? I like this. I really like this look. I think I have enough blush on, but maybe I need a little more. Like, I'm just trying to get content with the blush level today. Out here now. And I kind of want to add in a little more highlight too there on the cheeks. Sometimes it's just all about the adjustments you make, you know? Right in here. Dusting off excess, and then I can just blend without getting too much applied. When I have my hair somewhat middle parted, roughly middle parted, kind of like one side pulled behind the ear. But yeah, totally enjoying this look. I enjoyed rediscovering so many good products. The main things that excited me today, I would say the foundation and concealer. I love that Illuminance foundation, and that concealer was just so perfectly coverage giving but also brightening. I liked that a lot. I enjoyed getting out my Lush drops from M Cosmetics, and really both of these palettes. This is such a multitasking gem here, this Cali Contour, and we really didn't get into it big time, but that matte powder that's in there that can set under eyes. It's such a good palette, and I believe there's a whole darker option. And then this, I mean, any eyeshadow lover would have to pop that open and say, okay, we're gonna have some fun today when we pull this out. So yeah, I feel like that's, for me personally, that feels like the way I like to wear color. You know, sneak it in there on the lid. I think it looks so pretty. And yeah, I think that's a palette I'm gonna try to do some more looks out of these days. So thank you so much for your time, everyone. I hope you're having a good day, and I appreciate you spending some of it here with me. I will see you again very soon. I love you. Bye.